Well, let's talk to Bruen, a former U.S. diplomat, now the president of the consulting firm Global Situation Room. Welcome to TRT World, Brett. How will you remember John McCain, and what should his legacy be?
His legacy is one of service and sacrifice. I think many Americans, irrespective of party today, are grieving his loss and trying to find out how we can take some semblance of hope and of courage from the work that he left behind.
John McCain's party and U.S. politics have changed beyond recognition since he started his political career. I wonder, does his death and his generation mark something of an end of a certain kind of politics?
I think the politics of John McCain are unfortunately a lost legacy in the United States at this point, and we do not have, I think, leaders that are able to reach across the aisle, to stand courageously for principle as McCain did. One hopes that his death will reinvigorate those who would want to pursue that kind of political discourse. And I think they also stand in stark contrast to the current political leadership, both at the White House and Congress. And I think this is a moment for Americans to look at how far we have strayed away from the kind of politics that we once had.
Many tributes to John McCain from around the world tonight, but the relationship with the U.S. President Trump, was very, very difficult right to the end.
Indeed. And in fact, President Trump, while offering condolences, made no mention of McCain's 3 decades of service in the U.S. Senate, his sacrifice as a sailor. I think that speaks volumes to the tension that still exists in this relationship. I think President Trump has not forgotten that McCain did come out and critique him both while he was in office and during the campaign.
John McCain's funeral will be an extraordinary event for the U.S. What do you make of his decision, and it was his decision, to request Presidents Obama and Presidents Bush, 2 men who defeated him in separate elections, to deliver his eulogy at his funeral?
John McCain was nothing if not magnanimous, including in defeat. And I think this final gesture shows the kind of legacy he wants to have, bringing together both those who defeated him as well as those from both sides of the aisle here in the United States. I think his speech, the last speech he gave on the floor of the Senate, where he tried to remind senators, tried to remind our political class of a need to return to values and a common vision as a country.
Bruen, thank you very much for talking to us.